has Harry gone rogue or what? I'm like, oh my God. Okay. I haven't listened to the whole podcast. It's like 2 hours long, but I am getting into it. But I'm not there yet. But let's go over some of the stuff that he said. He treated me the way he was treated. Harry claims he moved to LA to break that cycle of pain that was caused by his father, the Queen, and Philip. You know that the next the next season of The Crown is going to be like the most watched thing on streaming ever. Harry today, they said he blasted Charles's parenting. Well, you know what? I could see that. Charles is, I don't dislike him. I have nothing against any members of the royal family. I just want to say that, full disclosure. I know sometimes I kind of make fun of Will and Kate, or as they say, Cain and Unable, but I don't really have it in for anybody because, we all got our own stories to tell. However, that doesn't stop me from being me. But, okay, I got to stop. I got to calm down. But I promise you, today has been like, just out of the blue, now we're starting to see like the real Harry. I mean, we already know him. He's an authentic person, but this is even, this is people were like, okay, well, in the Oprah interview, Meghan was controlling the message. No, this is Harry. Harry's telling his own story. And what I like about it is that there is no video, so we won't have the opportunity to see those mind readers and those body language experts and all of those shamans and such telling us what the person is thinking, because he's thinking and talking for himself, and it won't be distracted by all of the body language stuff that is so annoying to me. They'd really do a disservice. So the Duke of Sussex today, and I'm getting this from the Daily Mail, also admitted he first wanted to quit the firm in the early 2000s because of what it did to his mom. Well, yeah, that's understandable. I mean, what did she die in, 96, 97? And so he was 13, so early 2000. Okay, so let's say he was probably 20 years old in the early 2000s, and he wanted to quit. Well, can't you understand that? I mean, they killed his mother. The institution, and not just the family, the royal family institution, but the entire orbit around the royal family cost his mother her life. She was selected, she was cultivated like a cultured pearl to be the mother of the future king, using all of her ancestry and DNA. And, aristocratically speaking, the Spencer family, which Diana is a Spencer, they're more British than the Windsors, because most of the Queen's family is German. So that's why she was selected. Anyway, God, I hope I'm not sounding way too excited, but this is going to be one for the record books. Harry's extraordinary attack on the royal family 2 months after accusing them of racism toward his 2-year-old son Archie came as he appeared on the Dax Shepard's Armchair Expert podcast. In another big Hollywood moment for the Duke, the show promoted his Apple TV mental health series with Oprah Winfrey, The Me You Can't See, which premieres next Friday, and it was also promoted in a tweet by Dax today. Harry, who is expecting a daughter with Meghan this summer, suggests that Prince Charles had suffered because of his upbringing by the Queen and Prince Philip, and that the Prince of Wales had then treated me the way he was treated, calling it genetic pain. Well, yeah, that's pretty much everybody's family. But what makes this so particularly, I guess, cringeworthy is the fact that it's the royal family and you expect everything to be exceptional, and above board, when the truth is it's a gilded cage. The way those people live is unrealistic. And my own opinion, this is my own opinion, is that the model in which the family functions, you do realize that everything that they do publicly, whether it's the Commonwealth Day, Trooping the Colors, everything is done by rank. And so the Queen arrives last, but she leaves first. Everybody follows the Queen. The Queen always has pride of place. She always has the right of way. And then that's followed by the Prince of Wales and his wife, and then his son and his wife. And then if Harry and Meghan are there, but you have to do it by rank. And by right, Meghan is supposed to walk behind Harry. The Duchess of Cambridge, Kate, is supposed to walk behind her husband. Now, both Harry and William have relaxed those rules, but, there was that time, Princess Diana, if you look at some of the old videos, she would catch herself walking ahead of Charles, and then she'd have to pull back when she realized, and then after a while, she was like, screw it, I'm going to do my thing. But, Charles is very fragile. And the idea that someone is more popular than he was more than he could take. And so it wasn't only that he wasn't in love with Diana, and I'm pretty sure he wasn't. He was performing his duty. And this is what, if you haven't seen The Crown, don't assume that you won't like The Crown because The Crown features the royal family and all the pomp and circumstance. It really delves into the dysfunction of probably the most famous family on the planet. So it's a lesson in family dysfunction. And to as the Queen says, I wear the bright colors because I have to be seen to be believed. Well, you have to watch The Crown because you have to watch that series to believe that the Windsors are exactly what they appear to be. During the I sound like Barbara Walters. During the wide-ranging interview lasting 90 minutes, now you see why I haven't completed it, Harry, who appears to have developed an American twang to his British accent since leaving the UK, said, I don't think we should be pointing the finger or blaming anybody, but certainly when it comes to parenting, if I've experienced some form of pain or suffering because of the pain or suffering that perhaps my father or my parents had suffered, I'm going to make sure I break that cycle so that I don't pass it on. Basically, what he's saying is that he doesn't want his son to grow up like he grew up. That's why it was necessary. And you know what? I'm so glad for this interview because it finally officially says, I mean, we learned it from Oprah, but I think this is the final. It wasn't Meghan. He didn't leave because of Meghan. He left because he wanted to. And this was a good excuse, a good reason, and a great explanation to say, I'm out of here. So he left. He didn't want to be there anyway. If you look at any of the old interviews where he actually just said, nobody wants this. I don't want this. We do it because we're obligated, because that's the only life we know. He felt better on a battlefield in Afghanistan than he felt being in London with his family. but not directly because of the family. It's the institution and his family, which is one and the same. They're so intertwined. You can't have one without the other. And so if you've ever have felt like, why is the family on television not like the family what should I say? Why isn't my family like the one on television? Where's all that love and nurturing that you see in like a 30-minute episode of a sitcom? Well, that's nobody's family. And could you imagine Harry wondering, how come, my family is so different from everybody else's family? Why do I have to walk behind my brother? It's a bunch of crazy stuff like that. So anyway, I'm going to try to wrap this up. God, I'm talking a mile a minute because I'm all excited and I'm excited about this podcast. Anyway, let me go back to this. He added, I never saw it. I never knew about it. And then suddenly I started to piece it together and go, okay, this is where he went to school and this is what happened. I know this about his life. I also know that it's connected to his parents. So that means he's treated me the way he was treated. So how can I change that for my own kids? And here I am. I moved my whole family to the United States. That wasn't the plan, but sometimes you just got to make a decision and put your family first and put your mental health first. Now, that's what he's saying on this podcast about leaving the UK. And just think, all those people who said, oh my God, he's going to be like a fish out of water. This is the only life he's known. Well, hey, I think he's doing okay for himself. Basically, he's a grown man living an adult life and experience, no different from anyone else. It just happens to be that his mother was the most photographed person in the world from age 19 until she passed away. I believe it was at age 36. She was the most photographed woman in the world, the most famous woman in the world. The Duke called the royal life a mixture between the Truman Show and being in a zoo, and said he quit last year to put his family and mental health first. He also put wild partying in his youth down to childhood trauma, having previously admitted experimenting with cannabis and drinking to excess, and joked about the time he played naked billiards in Las Vegas. The podcast saw both men share their experiences and past trauma, and Dax, who is married to Frozen star Christian Bale, spoke about his own addiction in smoking crack and alcohol. Harry asked him, what is it like to take a shitload of drugs when he was young and suffering from sexual abuse as a child, while also speaking about his own experience of pain as a senior royal. So that's Dax, who suffered from the sexual abuse, just to be clear, and Harry, who suffered from the pain of a senior royal. God, this is getting long, but I'm just going to go with it. Harry asked him if he had an awareness whether his abuse of drink and cocaine was fueled by his childhood, saying, for you, it was your upbringing and everything that happened to you. The trauma, the pain, the suffering, all of a sudden you find yourself doing a shitload of drugs and partying hard. The Duke described how he started therapy after Meghan saw he was angry. Now, once again, to clarify, the thing about Harry asked him if he had awareness about drinking cocaine, not that Harry was doing those things, but Dax. The Duke described how he started therapy after Meghan saw he was angry. Well, yeah, and some of those pictures that we've seen even before Meghan came into his life, oh my God, he just looks so freaking sad. in a cage while in royal duties. He said it was like being in a cage. He said, it's a job, right? Grin and bear it. Get on with it. I was in my early 20s and I was thinking, I don't want this job. I don't want to be here. I don't want to belong to this. Look at what it did to my mom. How am I ever going to settle down and have a wife and a family when it's going to happen again? He added, and that is the frame of mind that he was in. I've seen behind the curtain. I've seen the business model, and I've seen how the whole thing works. I don't want to be a part of this. Before revealing he had therapy after meeting Meghan, which burst a bubble, and he decided to stop complaining, right? So, I'm telling you, this podcast, anyway, I'm going to try to remember to leave a link to it so you don't have to get my filtered down version only. But as you can see, I'm very excited and I'm like super animated because, oh my God, I just feel so good for Harry. I mean, like I'm almost in tears because, as I said before, that kid that I saw on TV, 2 billion people watched him, looked at his face, the pain and suffering. He was forced to walk behind his mother's coffin as a child, and 2 billion of us watched this. And I want you to really get a grasp of what I'm saying. It wasn't just that he walked behind his mother's coffin. Strangers wailing and crying and screaming out in pain at the loss of his mother. Anyone could see how that would have an effect on someone. I don't know how the British press live with themselves attacking Prince Harry. And I said it once and I'll say it again. Harry is born of the blood, but because he married Meghan Markle, he has been trashed. He has been picked and attacked and hunted and sought after by other British people. How do you have so much love for your queen? How do you have that much love for anyone in the royal family? But this amazing guy that has been in service of the crown better than any other senior royal alive today by serving in the armed forces and by really helping to keep the Commonwealth intact, as I've pointed out in another video. One of the most powerful members of the royal family is now ranked at the bottom in popularity because of the tabloid press and this evil, maniacal campaign to destroy him. And the only reason that he has been electronically lynched is because of his wife. And the only reason why she's been attacked is because she was guilty of being hardworking and popular. I won't even say that it's the race, but we know that plays a major part of it. I have spent a lot of time in the UK. I've spent a lot of money in the UK. I don't know that I would ever do that again. I've been places that you couldn't have imagined someone like me, from my circumstances, you could not imagine some of the places that I've gone. It's places that people in the UK would like to go and just have never had the time or the means to do so. I spent a lot of money. I spent a lot of time. Don't know if I would ever do it again because of the way that Rachel Meghan Markle has been treated, and even more compelling, the way that they've done Harry. I don't know the justification for that. I don't know that there's any justification other than their popularity was threatening. It's what happened to Princess Diana. That's exactly what happened to Princess Diana. And he's telling you, he's from the inside. And he stepped out and he's telling you, this is what happened to my mother. This is what destroyed my mother. Her popularity. And the fact that she was only a vessel to be used to carry the bloodline. And once that was over, once that was accomplished, then her value and her worth was set aside and it was back to Camilla. Wasn't it? Isn't that what happened? It was back to Camilla. And it's unfortunate. I don't think he blames his father because his father was a victim of that same circumstance. Do you understand? His father is also a victim. He can never admit that he's been victimized by his circumstances. But it's true. And I don't know, maybe after this podcast, maybe he will have an awakening. But Charles is a victim. Just because of the wealth and privilege that they have pain does not know borders or boundaries. It does not know ethnicities. Pain does not care who you are and how much money you have. It doesn't matter if there's a Rembrandt in your dining room. Pain is pain. Love is love. All of these things are equal in all of us. And everything is possible. So maybe Charles will have an awakening. Doesn't make much of a difference now because, but he could apologize to his son. He could acknowledge his son. And he could commit to avoiding repeating the injuries that has happened to Harry that has caused Harry so much pain. Anyway, God, look at how long I've been talking. I gotta go, you guys. This is very emotional, but in a way it's kind of therapeutic because, I feel a certain way about Harry. And I feel a certain way about Meghan, and I don't apologize for the support that I extend to them because, I'm standing on principle. Anyway, like, share, support. I gotta go.